So Manchester United head to Selhurst Park on Sunday lunchtime, and being honest, I already feel very uncomfortable about this game. It's a tight pitch, loud crowd, horrible atmosphere for an away team, and Palace always seem to raise their game when United show up. And with how we played against Everton, this becomes a massive game for us and one that we have to see a response from, not just for the points, but for confidence, for momentum, and proving that Monday night wasn't the start of another slump. And I think we're owed a response from the players after Monday as well. At the time of recording, we're currently 10th in the league. Thankfully, we're still within touching distance of the European places, which is the main aim this season, but the margins are tiny now. If we drop more silly points, then we can start to drift fast. And we have an opportunity here with a win to jump ahead of Palace, who are currently 2 points ahead of us. In terms of our form, United have gone from unbeaten in five to no wins in three, showing how quickly the narrative around United can change like the toss of a coin. But away from home is still a massive issue. Even with the recent draws, we are currently ninth in the league for away form. In fact, United have won just one of their last 11 Premier League games away from home, drawing four, losing six, and that was the victory against Liverpool last month. And check this one out. We have also won just 3 of 26 Premier League games against London sides, drawing seven, losing 16, with all three of these victories coming against Fulham. Let me say that again. We have won just three of our last 26 Premier League games against London sides, drawing seven, losing 16, and all three of those victories came against the same team in Fulham. And I just hope that this is one of those games where records are there to be broken, right? But it was the manner of the defeat against Everton that was alarming because it was a copy and paste of some of the abject performances we saw last season. No energy, no fight, no intensity, and just generally a lack of imagination from the players and the manager. And I feel because the scars, from last season do run very, very deep, I think that's what made it so difficult. In terms of Palace's form, they beat Wolves last weekend 2-0 and have one loss, two draws, and two wins from their last five games. And they're actually on the same run as us, but just in a slightly different order. They played last night or on Thursday evening against Strasbourg, and a lunchtime kickoff on Sunday after a midweek European game you would hope gives us a slight advantage for freshness, especially when we've had no midweek game. So we need to use that to our advantage and show up with some intensity and make them work hard. Crystal Palace, though, were unbeaten in their last 12 Premier League home games, winning six, drawing six. But they've only won two games at home this season and drew the other four, which has them currently 14th in the league for home form. Their defensive record, though, is outstanding. Only league leaders Arsenal have conceded fewer goals than Crystal Palace in the Premier League this season. It's actually their fewest goals conceded in 12 games into a league season since 1981 to 1982. Palace have the third lowest average possession in the league, yet they have created the third highest big chances in the league with 36 and have missed the third highest number of big chances in 24. So that suggests that they are a team who will sit in their shape, allow you to have the ball, and break quickly to create opportunities on transition. Because they also have they made the third most tackles and interceptions in the league, so they are a key team, very capable of creating chances. They will let you have the ball. They will use a mid block to then pounce on and intercept the ball and create opportunities from that. And they are very, very good at doing that. And our defense, despite having three centre halves, we just can't keep clean sheets at the moment, which is a concern. In the reverse fixture last season at Selhurst Park, we had Eric Ten Hag in charge. It was 0-0. It was a game where both keepers made some good saves and kept both teams in it. But also one of those games where we created opportunities but just couldn't finish because Dean Henderson had a good game. Garnacho and Bruno Fernandes both hit the woodwork in the same attack, but we could have lost it at the death as well when Eze placed the ball wide of the post at the end for Palace. So, interestingly, United have failed to score in each of their last four Premier League games against Crystal Palace. So again, that is another concern coming to this game. This is not an easy fixture for us and not one that we found easy in recent history. But then which game and which team have we found it easy to play against in recent history? In terms of lineups, this is how Palace lined up for their win against Wolves. And interestingly, they do play the same formation and the same shape that we do, a 3-4-2-1 or a 3-4-3. Glasner, though, is a lot more adaptable and flexible in his team shape than Ruben Amorim is, and he will make in-game changes sometimes, depending on the game state, to adapt to a situation. Whereas we know that Ruben Amorim will not do that. He will play his formation and he will play his system regardless of what's happening in the actual game. He will even make like for like substitutes as well. And that lack of imagination from Ruben Amorim is a concern going into this game. But last time they lined up with Dean Henderson in goal, who I expect to have a good game against United. He always does. Gahey, who are aware of, Lacroix and Richards at the back. Mitchell and Munoz as their wing backs, Kamada and Wharton in midfield, Yeremy Pina, Ismail Sarr, and Mateta, who is their leading goal scorers, 6 Premier League goals this season, and an old school centre half, one that I would have taken at Man United in the summer as well, and probably still would, to be fair. Very, very good striker, and definitely one to keep an eye on. Interestingly, obviously, Adam Wharton, we've got the clear links with us. It'll be interesting to see how he gets on against us. Mark Gay will be one to keep an eye on as well. He has had links to come into United and is a very good defender. So we need to be aware of some of their players. Ismail Sarr can cause us problems. Yerin Pino can as well. So they are actually a fairly decent, well-organised team that will sit in a mid-block, let you have the ball, but pounce on any mistakes that you make. And we know that United will make plenty of mistakes, or are capable of making plenty of mistakes. Now, in terms of how I would line up, I would like to make wholesale changes, but the reality is there isn't enough quality in the squad to make 11 changes or 10 changes or 9 changes from the weekend, because and the other reality is the players that you're looking to replace them with are all going to be all going to be unsharp and rusty because they just have not had enough minutes this season, and that's one of the downfalls. One of the squad rotation, but also the fact that we don't have enough games this season to keep everybody sharp and match fit. So as much as I would want to make wholesale changes, the reality is I just don't think it's possible, because the drop off as we go through it, is could hurt us against a team that we struggle to beat and in a very good form. So send Lemons in goal. Luke Shaw, if Martinez can play, I would play Martinez ahead of Luke Shaw in a heartbeat, but I don't think Martinez is going to be thrown into the deep end when he hasn't had any minutes since coming back from a very, very lengthy layoff. If Maguire is fit, I'm recording this video before Ruben Amorim's press conference, so if Maguire is fit and available, I would bring him in a heartbeat to help us defend against Mateta with balls into the box, and with his box defending, and also his ability to play the ball out from the back and hit those long diagonals, which I think I'd like to see us start utilizing a little bit more from the back. Mateus de Ligt picks himself. I think he's our best defender so far this season. If Maguire is not available, I would move De Ligt into the central centre-back position. I would actually play Mazraoui as the right-sided centre-back, because I thought Lenny Yoro had a really tough game against Everton, and also his lack of physicality, which is something that he needs to work on, I think would be a disadvantage to us in this particular game, where we are going to need to be a lot more physical. So I would bring Mazraoui in for that reason. Dorgu, I'd play at left wing back, just purely because this is one of the problems that Amorim has, because the other option is Dalot, and I think Dorgu's more effective down there than Diego Dallo is, so I would not be playing. So I would play Dorgu for that reason. And the interesting one is Ugarte. I would actually play Ugarte in midfield for 2 reasons. One, Casemiro is 1 yellow card away from being banned, and so we're going to have the same problem if Ugarte does not get minutes. Then he's going to be rusty, and he's going to be thrown in to play with Bruno in midfield. So you'll have a rusty, out of form Ugarte playing next to Bruno Fernandes, and Ugarte is meant to be the shield to cover up for Bruno Fernandes's deficiencies in midfield, and I think that's a recipe for disaster. So I bring Ugarte into this game to give him some game time to play alongside Casemiro, who can still give him a little bit more stability, where you're not over reliant on his defensive output, where Ugarte can go and press and win the ball higher up. You've still got the shield of Casemiro midfield, and like I said, it gives Ugarte some minutes so that when Casemiro is suspended, you're not throwing him in at the deep end and expecting him to perform like he's been playing all season, because I think that's a recipe for disaster. But also, secondly, to give us some energy and legs in midfield, because at least he has that. Amad Diallo, I would play at right wing back. I don't know why we keep breaking up that axis of Amad and Mbumo. Down that right-hand side, I think it's our biggest weapon. Let's use it. Let's get them back up and running again down that side. Bruno Fernandes is not going to be dropped. He's club captain, and the reality is he's going to play. regardless of whether you agree with that or not. That's the manager's decision, and that's the reality of the situation. I would move Bruno into the number 10 position next to Mbumo, and if Cunha is fit and available, I'll bring in Cunha up front. Obviously, if Cunha's not yet ready and available, I would actually maybe bring in Mason Mount and play Mbumo up front and have Mount and Bruno as the two number 10s as an alternative. But give us your team selections down in the comments below. It'll be interesting to hear what you would do for your lineup. Remember, it's your lineup. You're not trying to predict Amrim's lineup. It will be your lineup. Let us know your team prediction in the comments, or your team lineup in the comments below. So how do we win this game? So Palace will want a game of transition. They'll want chaos. They'll want mistakes. And if we give it to them, then it's over. So for me, we've got to do three things to get it right. We need to be better on the ball. We need to be composed but brave. No more taking 4 touches, then panicking. No slow, lazy passing. Get the ball forward quickly. Use the switch of play that the system is designed to create, because Palace will be aggressive. They'll intercept everything. And if we have loose passes in the middle of the park or playing out from the back, then they're just going to create opportunities from that. So we need to stop treating the ball like it's burning at our feet, because they will punish us if we play like that. Secondly, we need to stop conceding goals from balls into the box. That is our massive Achilles heel. Throw-ins, crosses, corners. We cannot stop conceding goals that way, and that is something that needs to be improved. And one of the reasons why, if he's fit and available, I would put Harry Maguire in that lineup for his in-box defending. Palace will not create loads through possession, but they'll be killers with early balls, diagonals, and second phases. So we need to defend the box like we're adults. And the third is the mentality. We need to see some intensity, some fight. We've got to win duels, win second balls, and that all comes from mentality. If we show the mentality that we did against Everton, then forget about it. If we show the mentality that we did against Liverpool, then we could get something from this game. And in terms of score prediction, it's like trying to predict the lottery at the moment, trying to predict United. But, Palace are unbeaten at home, have the second best defensive record in the league. And we are relegation form when we have more than 50% possession, and Palace will let us have possession. They're going to make a lot of interceptions. We give the ball away easily. And we need to change that script. They're the warning signs are there for those reasons. I'm going with a scrappy draw. I think it's going to be 1-1. I'm not sure whether that helps us or not. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we get a win, because, my God, we need a win. We need to bounce back, and after the performance against Everton. But all the data and everything suggests that this is going to be a very tough game for us. But let us know your score predictions and thoughts below. Don't forget to smash a like on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. See you in the next one.